how do you identify a candidate's story, that is it scripted or a natural one?
You need to write a story around the characters and situations shown in the picture.
Sir, can we also discuss some of the anecdotes with respect to all the questions, ताकि एक understanding develop हो सके how candidates are exactly committing the mistakes?
उल्टी सीधी चीजें बच्चा सीख रहा है, is reading all negative news, तो जाहिर सी बात है the output will be negative.
Does it make it difficult to assess a candidate in the selection?
Also, I would like to add on something to this.
He's been to the front line in Ladakh, Kargil and Nagaland, and also sat across the table as a SSB Psychologist assessing over 800 plus candidates. Namaste Defense Aspirant, my name is Sheetal Yadav, and in today's episode of Defense Roger, we're being honored and truly joined by a remarkable officer, Lieutenant Colonel Rohit Mehra sir, an alumnus of St. Thomas College, Dehradun. Sir joined the Indian Military Academy in 2003 after clearing the CGS exam and got commissioned into the Regiment of Artillery on 12th June 2004. Over the glorious 20 years career, he has served in some of the most challenging operational areas, from Ladakh and Kargil to Assam and Nagaland, and also held the prestige staff role at 24 Artillery Brigade, Bikaner. But that's not all. He's a trained psychologist from Defense Institute of Psychological Research, New Delhi, and served as a psychological assessor at 22nd SSB Bhopal, where he assessed more than 800 candidates. After retirement, Sir is helping candidates getting the right guidance that is required for the selection process. You can reach out to Sir through the various platforms. There's a contact number, Instagram account, and YouTube channel given in the description. Coming back to video, in this video we have talked about a lot of factors that how lies are caught in the SSB, in the psychological test precisely, talking about the various scenarios that how candidates fake their personality, talking about overcoaching, how it is harmful for the candidate, and various other things. Without any further delay, let's go back to the video. So, welcome to the platform, and I am very happy to have you here, sir, because I have seen your podcast. I have seen you all over internet through Instagram reels to YouTube videos, and it was one of the most awaited videos because, sir, I have seen people running academies. कुछ candidates run करते हैं सर जो recommended है. Some are officers जो they took retirement after the service, and very few are run by the officer who are DIPR certified and they are being part of a board member. And so you are one of them. You have assessed over 800 plus candidates and you're still helping them, sir. Thank you so much for joining me because I'm sure there are so many doubts I've taken from candidates which are going to help them a lot.
Well, thank you, Sheetal, for welcoming me to your lovely show. And this is a very informative platform, I must convey.
Right.
Because a lot of candidates are getting benefited and a lot of candidates who have done well and now you are sharing their experiences also. So it's a good humane service, I must say, that you are doing.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Sir, in this video, I have targeted all the tests, whether it's TAT, WAT, and SRT and ST. Let's start with the basics, sir. TAT, WAT, and SRTs, these are tests which are considered by the candidates, they are tests to clear. What is the purpose of conducting this psychological test, sir? Is it meant to, assess the person's candidate's personality or their performance? This is a most misconception which candidates are having.
See, Sheetal, if you see the test, this is all these are part of projective techniques. So
Okay.
these tests were designed way back, and if you talk about TAT per se, so TAT is one test that was originated by a scientist called Henry Murray, and the purpose of this test initially was for the clinical diagnosis of the patients.
Okay, sir.
However, later on, DIPR, that is Defense Institute of Psychological Research, they use this as a purpose to evaluate officer-like qualities of the people who are seeking commission as officers in the armed forces. So
Right.
based on that, they developed their own pictures, and the test was designed in a beautiful way,
Mhm.
wherein all the basic personality traits of the candidate get revealed. So it is a projective technique based on which the candidates are evaluated. So, so far as preparedness, and you asked me that whether they are they come prepared or they don't come prepared. So candidate has to prepare. See, any test, any interview, if you see for that matter, they have to come well prepared for that.
Right, sir.
So, but nevertheless, nobody expects that you try to mug up stories and
Yes.
try to rattle out these responses that so-called coaching academies are teaching.
Yes.
They have heard that many coaching academies are giving stories कि तुम ऐसी picture आएगी तो ऐसी story लिख दो, ऐसा आएगा तो ऐसा लिख दो, which is very wrong.
Right,
So
sir.
the originality of the candidate gets lost somewhere.
Hmm. Right, sir. So, starting with TAT also, like people write scripted and they try to write idle responses in TAT, and they rehearse it so much that, sir, it becomes very hard to find what their true response are. How do you identify a candidate's story, that is it scripted or a natural one?
Well, see, if it is a scripted story which is not natural, it is certainly that the candidate will not be able to address the problem. He will just try to fit in as per the best of his knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The any picture, if you see,
Mm-hmm.
picture is a scene that is being depicted to the candidate, and based on that, the candidate is supposed to use his intellectual mind and use his practical intelligence and write a story.
Yes, sir.
So if he tries to fit in the story and which is actually not related to the stimulus,
Yes.
stimulus से मेरा मतलब है in simple words the picture that has been shown. So
Mm-hmm.
in the instructions also it is very clearly given that you need to write a story around the characters and situations shown in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And in the story you will write what led to the situation, what is going on at present, and what the outcome will be.
Yes.
And very important part is that you will also have to describe the thoughts, feelings, and actions of the characters shown in the picture. Now, if the candidate is not following these instructions, he's just trying to fit in a story. So obviously, it will be either a socially desirable response or it will be a preconceived story that he is trying to fit in. So that
Right,
will
sir.
definitely be very much evident, and the assessor will easily be able to come to know that the person is trying to fake a response actually.
Yes, sir. Right, sir. सर एक ऑफिसर्स लाइक क्वालिटी के बारे में भी काफी बात की जाती है एंड candidates use such word like bravery, honesty, intelligent, and how does these things like showing ideal OLQs backfire a candidate in TAT and WAT specifically, sir, because they over rehearse and they try to make the response in such a way that it looks very idle, that this candidate is really having all the OLQs which is required for the process.
See, using these words as jargons and trying to bring about these words time and again and rehearsing it. See, if I talk about WAT, WAT is one test. अगर आप देखो तो ये कैंडिडेट की मानसिकता को परखता है. What is his thought process? So
Mhm.
I feel that learning and practicing will help to some extent, but the candidate will have to improve the input what he is taking. So today there is so much of garbage in the social media if you see.
Mhm.
So
Right,
whatever
sir.
comes in that comes out. So आपके दिमाग में the mind is like a blotting paper.
Mhm.
Whatever information you take every day in the morning and during the course of the day, that gets absorbed by your subconscious mind. So
Okay.
अब वो उल्टी सीधी चीजें ही बच्चा सीख रहा है, is reading all negative news, so जाहिर सी बात है the output will be negative.
जी
So
सर.
first is that the candidate needs to have a balanced lifestyle. He has to ensure that whatever input he is taking, she needs to read good books, good knowledgeable books, current affairs. So
Mhm.
all those things have to be imbibed.
Right.
So automatically his thought process will improve. And उसके साथ में अगर वो practice करता है,
Mhm.
then this will help. This
Yes.
practice will help. Otherwise, just practicing and mugging up words and trying to project, that will not help.
Right, sir. Sir, can we also discuss some of the anecdotes with respect to all the questions ताकि एक understanding develop हो सके how candidates are exactly committing the mistakes. Like, so when it comes to SRT, I have seen candidates giving a fake response in SRT, that SRT is all about, sir, real-time decisions, but they show that they are very intelligent, they are calm, whether they are not in most of the scenarios, and they rehearse it a lot. They talk to people who are recommended. You would have seen so many SRTs and you have assessed and you would have laughed a lot in some of the SRTs as well, sir, seeing their response. What do you have to say on that? Key faking response, how does it look like in SRT and how do you identify that?
Well, Sheetal, if you see the candidates who is trying to project someone who is actually not, they try to project
Yes.
themselves who they are actually not.
Mhm.
So I come across many SRTs and wherein the candidate try to take a certain course of action
Mhm.
which they would have actually not taken.
जी सर.
And when I later discuss with them, they say that कि हाँ सर ये तो मुझे आता नहीं. I'll give you an example. Recently, I evaluated the SRT of one of the candidates.
Okay, sir.
So I was going through the dossier. So over there, there was a response wherein the candidate was supposed to save the friend from drowning.
Okay.
So अब the candidate writes कि मैं कूदा पानी में, I dived into the water and saved.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw the PIQ form of the candidate,
Mm-hmm.
in the sports column or extracurricular activities, it was all blank.
Okay.
एंड अगर कोई ऐसा एक्शन ले रहा है तो उसको स्विमिंग तो आनी चाहिए. शी शुड बी अ गुड स्विमर एटलीस्ट.
Mm-hmm.
बट दैट वाज नॉट द केस विद हर. एंड लेटर ऑन व्हेन आई आस्क्ड हर कि तुमने ये क्यों लिखा, तो शी सेड कि सर मेरे को लगा कि आई वुड बी एबल टू बेटर इंप्रेस द असेसर बाय राइटिंग दिस.
Right,
तो
sir.
ये तो मेरा फेस टू फेस हो गया उस कैंडिडेट से. बट जहां पर अगर असेसर, अगर वो बच्चा, अगर शी वुड हैव गॉन देयर टू फॉर एसएसबी, तो वहां पर अगर मैं जाता, वहां पर शी वुड हैव गिवन द रिस्पांस. तो एसेसर डजंट हैव टाइम टू स्पीक टू देम कि तुम क्या कहना चाह रहे हो. So they will just accordingly carry out their assessment and give the results. But now I corrected that girl ki, see, don't have to project yourself and fake yourself. Be what you are. That is more important.
राइट सर. जिस तरह के मल्टीपल टेस्ट होते हैं, आई एम श्योर देयर विल बी सम ऑफ द डोजियर्स वेयर यू फाइंड कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन इन देयर रिस्पॉन्सेज. लाइक इन वन ऑफ द टेस्ट दे आर शोइंग दैट दे आर, you know, they have those OLQs, they are disciplined, but they have the decision making. But in other one, they are showing that indecisiveness. So how do you really find out the contradiction among these all the tests? If you could remember any of the candidate.
See, if a candidate, if you see TAT, in the
Mhm.
TAT part, the candidate has to show his speed of decision by writing the story
Right.
and how fast he is able to come to the conclusion or the judgment of the picture.
Okay.
Whereas in WAT, it's a tricky test. You can say that 15 seconds mein the candidate is supposed to write the answer, the sentence making. So whatever first thought or idea that comes, so they are supposed to do that. So how quickly and how spontaneously the candidate is able to give his response. So that is how the speed of decision is deciphered in that. And अगर वो नहीं कर पा रहा है in the subconscious mind also, तो वो
Right.
SRT में भी निकल के आ जाता है. In if SRT में it happens that the candidate has performed very well in WAT. But when it comes to the conscious mind, when it comes to writing responses in the situation reaction test, he's dilly dallying, or he's trying to procrastinate, or at times they tend to not give a proper solution to the answer. So that is how that variance comes while assessing the candidates.
राइट सर. सर काफी बजवर्ड्स भी यूज करे जाते हैं, विच आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ द कैंडिडेट्स यूज दैट, यू नो, दे आर हार्ड वर्किंग, दे आर इंटेलिजेंट, they have, you know, time management skills. But yes sir, I feel like sometimes these buzzwords may backfire them in this psychological test. Instead of writing those words, they could have used the statements, real, I mean action oriented statements that they have done. Sir, how do you identify, and what is your suggestion regarding while writing, whether it's SD, whether it's TET stories, how should a candidate go ahead with these stories?
See, as I just mentioned, that the candidate needs to give responses
Okay.
which are logical and which have some rationality to it behind it.
Mhm.
एक तो ये चीज है. So far as using these buzzwords are concerned, there is no point through the or through this medium. I would like to convey to all the candidates that they don't have to, try to use words like determination, courage, OLQ जैसे words ऐसे इस्तेमाल करने की जरूरत नहीं है. That let that job be to the assessor. He will automatically evaluate your dossier, and they'll come to know if you meet the requirement or your personality is in sync with the requirement of the organization. So वो सब there's no point in impressing the assessor by using these words.
Mhm.
In fact, जो words, if you talk about WAT, कोई बार बार repetitive pattern में इन words को use कर रहा है, this is a clear indication that the candidate lacks the practical intelligence, and he is giving those repetitive kind of ideas
Yes,
because
sir.
he's he's lacking those ideas which are required.
Mhm.
So that in fact is going to actually backfire अगर वो if he tries to project those kind of words time and again.
Okay. सर फिर एसडी के अंदर एग्जैक्टली लिखना कैसे चाहिए? बिकॉज हाउ विल दे शो दैट दे हैव दोज क्वालिटीज इफ दे डोंट यूज द वर्ड्स? व्हाट इज द अल्टरनेटिव, सर?
See, in SD is not about projecting your qualities only. It is also about projecting your weak points or your gray areas.
Okay.
So, if the candidate knows what are my strengths and weaknesses, that is what is supposed to be written in SD. It is to be written through the opinion of the parents or through the opinion of your teachers or your friends, what they feel about you.
Mhm.
So definitely nobody is Mr. Perfect. Everybody has got shortcomings. तो वो लोग क्या सोचते हैं आपके बारे में, क्या आपके बारे में तारीफ करते हैं, क्या पॉजिटिव्स है आपके बारे में, और बीच बीच में पेरेंट्स ऑल्सो टिक यू ऑफ फॉर सर्टन थिंग्स एट्रीब्यूट्स जो कि आपके अंदर गलत कमियां हैं, दे कीप ऑन टेलिंग यू. So
Right.
whether that realization to that candidate is there or not, that is what is being looked into, and what is the candidate doing to overcome those weaknesses. Whether
Right.
that realization is there, whether the candidate is moving towards that direction to improve upon those things or no. So that is what is seen in the SD.
All right, sir. Sir, as I said, there are so many coaching academies running out there. Does it make it difficult to assess a candidate in the selection? Because, sir, they exactly tell you that what to write, what has to be written, what should be a response. And जो आपने लिखा है, इसका exactly stimulus क्या है? So, how it is, exactly going in the scenario in this SSP board? Because candidates को लगता है कि they are writing the right statements and everything is going well. But what is the impact on the assessor's point of view side? अगर मैं पूछूं sir, what is your opinion regarding this?
See, I can give the assurance कि जो DIPR से select होके officer जो assessor बनता है, so
जी.
they go through a stringent training,
हम्म.
and then they get selected. So for them to find out whether the candidate is fake or not, that is very easy for them.
हम्म.
And so far as even if the candidate is trying to give coached responses,
हम्म.
so वो तो automatically निकल के आ ही जाएगा. So उसका dossier will in any case get set aside. So there
हम्म.
is no point in वो भर तो देगा पूरी शीट, आंसर शीट, लेकिन वो किसी काम की नहीं होगी.
जी सर.
So the assessor will of course not be able to do justice to the that particular dossier, because उस
हम्म.
candidate ने सारे जो responses दिए हैं, या तो वो preconceived दिए हैं या फिर वो socially desirable responses दिए हैं.
राइट
So
सर.
either ways it is not correct.
हम्म.
So जो फीलिंग्स एंड थॉट्स ऑफ द कैरेक्टर्स जो थे, जो जो निकल के आ रहे थे जो पिक्चर्स के अंदर, उसका उसने इस्तेमाल ही नहीं किया है. So the response automatically goes haywire, and selection chances also get reduced to a great extent.
राइट सर. सर, कैन यू गिव एन एग्जांपल जहाँ पे आपने कोस्ट कैंडिडेट को आइडेंटिफाई किया है, रियल आई मीन नेचुरल रिस्पॉन्स को आपने आइडेंटिफाई किया? बिकॉज कैंडिडेट एक बहुत थिन लाइन है सर इन दोनों चीज़ों के अंदर, एंड दे फील लाइक going through a lot of dossiers which are there on internet of recommended candidates. They feel like they should make a story in the similar line. Can you give any real example of a coached candidate जहाँ पे आपने आइडेंटिफाई किया था?
सी, पहले तो मैं एक चीज क्लैरिफाई करना चाहूंगा शीतल, दैट कोचिंग इज नॉट बैड. देयर इज
Okay.
नथिंग रॉन्ग विद द कोचिंग. इवन इफ द कैंडिडेट कम्स एज अ कोच्ड कैंडिडेट, I mean, there is nothing. Everybody is taking coaching today. There
Right.
is not single person who comes to the SSB without coaching. If somebody says, then they're trying to fake, because there's so many academies. Everybody wants to, have a familiarization with the test. कि भाई
Mm-hmm.
क्या करना है, what has to be done. So nothing wrong in that. So as long as the candidate is not using it, the coaching as a template, कि
Mm-hmm.
ये एक thumb rule है, 2 + 2 4 है, तो मैं इसको ऐसे लिखूंगा करके. So
Mm-hmm.
that becomes wrong. So for
Okay.
example, I'll give you, there is a picture very commonly seen wherein there is a old man and a old woman who was sitting in a room,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a boy walking out with a satchel with him. So, and the expression of the father, that old man and the old lady,
Right,
are
sir.
serious, and as if they're not very happy about something. So if the candidate says that he takes blessings from them and then goes away, and he is very happy about it, so that is a very made up kind of response. See, if you
Okay.
see the picture, it is very clearly evident
Mm-hmm.
that the mood of the characters is not in a very positive frame. So
Mm-hmm.
अब now that has to be used in the picture, that जो उसमें थोड़ा सा negative दिखाया है, so that will have to be utilized in the story that you are making. And
Okay.
if you are wishing away from that, then it becomes a wrong story.
Okay. Right, sir. Sir, when I was saying that a coached person, I'm not talking about the mentorship, but sir, actually एक candidate को जब एक जगह जाने के बाद selection नहीं मिलता है, then they go to multiple coachings, and sir, they are full of data and head is full of opinions and do's and don'ts. तो उसकी वजह से काफी ज्यादा लर्न अनलर्न चीजों में कंफ्यूजन होके दे कमिट द मिस्टेक. And that is the reason I'm using this word coached. I'm sure, sir, coaching is not bad. Every candidate is taken, and I'm making this video just to help them also. That is also a help guide for them. So I just imply to that portion because, sir, literally online के through recommended candidates के through इतनी opinions आते हैं that they feel like, hearing them over and over again, that these are the real time scenarios and I should perform in this certain way. So that was my take. That is the reason I was using that word, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I would like to add on something to this. Hital, see, it is good to take experience, know how was the experience of the other person, but
Right.
थिंकिंग कि मैं एक किसी रिकमेंडेड कैंडिडेट से सीख के और उससे गाइडेंस लेके और फिर देन आई मेक माय ओन परसेप्शन, तो दैट इज रॉन्ग. सो
Right.
एंड बिकॉज ऑफ सो मेनी कोचिंग अकेडमीज आल्सो मशरूमिंग दीस डेज, it is
Mhm.
very important for the candidate to find out and that whether the assessor who is assessing the candidate is a DIPR qualified assessor who had a tenure in the SSB or not. That is
Mhm.
very important because I have seen many people who have themselves not never joined Forge
Mhm.
and वो कुछ recommend हो गए and then they are trying to open a coaching academy, which is I feel incorrect, and because they don't have the experience, neither do have the requisite training with them. So
Right.
in fact उनको guide करके वो थोड़ा सा गलत ही कर देते हैं, तो they are not benefiting the candidates.
राइट सर. सर सर एक और चीज भी काफी ज्यादा कैंडिडेट में रहती है दैट दे आर फियर ऑफ शोइंग देयर रियल सेल्फ. मे बी आउट ऑफ फियर सर, मे बी आउट ऑफ अंडर कॉन्फिडेंस. एंड दे फियर दैट अगर वो अपने नेगेटिव थॉट्स या अपने वीकनेसेस आगे रखेंगे तो दे विल बी जज्ड एंड दैट माइट कॉस्ट देम रिकमेंडेशन. व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन एंड व्हाट इज योर सजेशन टू दोज कैंडिडेट्स हु थिंक दिस वे?
See, no, I totally don't agree with this because if the candidate is thinking, he's thinking on the wrong lines. If
ओके.
the candidate has the realization about the weakness or the shortcoming, ठीक है, तो वो अगर realization है तो he'll get a bonus point for that,
यस.
certainly. Because as long as the realization is not there, then there is no scope of improvement. अगर realization है, then तो of course improvement होना possible है. सो ये थिंकिंग, बिकॉज जो कैंडिडेट ने पूरे डोजियर में किया है उसकी क्या क्या कमियां हैं, व्हाट ऑल आर हिज वीकनेसेस, दैट इज ऑलरेडी नोन टू द एसेसर. वो पता लग जाता है.
राइट.
हाउएवर इफ द कैंडिडेट इज स्टिल नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग एंड ट्राइंग टू सबड्यू देम, सो वो उसके लिए ज्यादा नेगेटिव है, उसके लिए ज्यादा नुकसानदायक है.
राइट सर. All right, sir. Sir, I have seen candidates coming from various background. कुछ गांव से आते हैं सर. Some are groomed well in the cities and उनको environment मिला है. कुछ फौजी बैकग्राउंड से होते हैं, किन्हीं को काफी सारे कैंडिडेट्स को एनसीसी का एक्सपीरियंस होता है. बट सर इन दिस होल प्रोसेस स्पेशली पीपल कमिंग फ्रॉम रूरल बैकग्राउंड या रिमोट एरिया से आते हैं, दे हैव दिस फियर दैट दे हैव अ एवरेज वोकैबुलरी सर, दे माइट नॉट बी गुड इन इंग्लिश एंड दे डोंट नो द फैंसी वर्ड. They want to know that do they stand out any chance in getting recommendation in SSP? Because sir, there is a sense of comparison between candidates, and this is one of the doubt which I got from one of the candidate.
ओके. सो शीतल, इसमें दो चीजें हैं. एक तो यू डोंट हैव टू बी ए शशि थरूर टू क्वालिफाई दिस एग्जाम. यू डोंट हैव टू बी फ्रॉम द ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी दैट मेरे को इतनी अच्छी इंग्लिश बोलनी चाहिए, मेरी इतनी अच्छी वोकैबुलरी भी होनी चाहिए. I've seen candidates who are from very good schools, very good spoken English, but they are not able to clear the SSB. At the same time, those who are average and who are not very fluent in English, but they understand the basic language, so they are also clearing in huge numbers. So ये तो एक मिथ है कि इंग्लिश बहुत ही अच्छी होनी चाहिए. However, इतनी इंग्लिश तो होनी ही चाहिए, बेसिक इंग्लिश, कि वो अपने आइडियाज को कम्युनिकेट कर पाए.
Okay.
बिकॉज अगर ये, बिकॉज दिस टेस्ट इज सपोज टू बी सॉल्व इन इंग्लिश. सो
Right.
अगर वो बेसिक इंग्लिश ही नहीं अंडरस्टैंड कर सकता, बेसिक ग्रामर उसकी एकदम खराब है, सो ऑब्वियसली ही विल हैव डिफिकल्टी टू पुट अक्रॉस हिज थॉट एंड आइडियाज.
Right, sir.
तो दैट पावर ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन जो इसको OLQ बोलते हैं, वो दे ही नहीं पाएगा वो कैंडिडेट. सो द कैंडिडेट नीड्स टू नो कि मेरे को अपना बेसिक इंग्लिश ठीक करना है. अगर आप जीटीओ को भी देखते हो तो जीटीओ अपनी पीपीडीटी में एक चीज क्लियरली बोलता है, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, द लैंग्वेज टू बी यूज्ड इज इंग्लिश. However, in case you get stuck, you may use Hindi, but revert to English as early as possible.
Right.
So this line itself, which is given to the candidate, is indicative कि भैया आपको थोड़ी इंग्लिश तो आनी ही चाहिए. बेसिक इंग्लिश शुड बी देयर. अगर आप बेसिक इंग्लिश नहीं बोल पा रहे हो, देन that means you're not worked enough in your life. And this is a norm in the SSB की अंग्रेजी तो बोलनी थोड़ी बहुत आनी ही चाहिए. तो I keep telling my candidates also कि तुम ये सोचो कि मैं ये वर्ड्स रट लूँ, ये स्टोरीज याद कर लूँ और मैं अपनी इंग्लिश पे वर्क अपॉन ना करूँ, तो दैट इज रॉन्ग.
Right, sir.
So there are so many options. If somebody is willing to learn English and wants to improve upon it, I mean, it's not a very difficult thing. इवन हिंदी मीडियम स्टूडेंट्स के हिंदी मीडियम स्कूल्स के स्टूडेंट्स भी अच्छी इंग्लिश बोल लेते हैं जो रिक्वायर्ड होती है, because they are trying to work upon themselves. I can give you my own example. I was when I was in school, and after my school I was not very fluent in English. So gradually I developed that habit of reading newspapers, making my own words, making my own sentences. I used to frame words. I used to communicate with my friends in English. So I used to do all these things. And irrespective what the other person is thinking about me, I used to not get bogged down because of it. कि जिसको जो सोचना सोचे, मैं तो अपना इम्प्रूवमेंट कर रहा हूँ. So that should be the attitude. और अगर थोड़ा थोड़ा करते 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 करेंगे, then within the time of 6 months, a person can improve and work upon the English. So that is not a big deal.
ऑल राइट सर. सर, जब साइकोलॉजिकल टेस्ट की बात आती है तो टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट्स काफ़ी ज़्यादा होते हैं, बिकॉज बैक टू बैक टेस्ट है एंड किसी में 15 सेकेंड्स मिलते हैं, किसी में 30 सेकेंड्स मिलते हैं. एंड देर आर टाइम अ कैंडिडेट थिंक कि इतने कम टाइम में रिस्पॉन्सेज कैसे लिखे, तो काफ़ी बार कैंडिडेट्स के रिस्पॉन्सेज छूट जाते हैं. एंड सर यहाँ पे भी काफ़ी सारे ओपिनियन फ्लोट करते हैं दैट यू शुड राइट अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 45 रिस्पॉन्सेज, बीच में नहीं छोड़ना है. आई डोंट नो सर व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज दिस सिनेरियो. आई वांट टू नो फ्रॉम यू, बिकॉज देर आर टाइम्स अगर हम एसआरटी लिख रहे हैं तो काफ़ी लोग डिटेल्ड एसआरटीज लिखते हैं, तो टाइम शॉर्टेज का प्रॉब्लम आ जाता है. हाउ per candidate should manage time? First thing I really want to know. And if they leave something in sir kuch responses छूट जाते हैं, how somebody can practice upon that area, how somebody can cope up with the situation.
Okay. So see, the first thing is that there is no set guideline कि इतने SRT करने हैं तो आपका ठीक है, और there is no such kind of a thumb rule for that.
Okay.
So far as the responses are concerned, we always tell the candidate कि you need to write quality response rather than focusing on the quantity. ठीक है. Now coming to the second part, how to write the quality response. So there are certain situations wherein the candidate has to give a step-by-step solution of how to overcome that situation. Whereas कई situations ऐसी भी होंगी जिसमें एक लाइन में ही आप अपना response आराम से कर सकते हो. So there is no need to further elaborate on that.
Okay.
So that the candidate will have to figure out कि ये किस टाइप की SRT है जिसमें मेरा एक लाइनर भी काफी है, एंड देर आर सर्टन सिचुएशन जिसके अंदर उसको प्रोएक्टिवली उसका रिस्पॉन्स देना पड़ेगा, एंड ही हैव टू गिव स्टेप बाय स्टेप सोल्यूशन ऑफ दैट प्रॉब्लम. सो दैट द कैंडिडेट हैज टू डिसाइड अपॉन हिमसेल्फ, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट अगर वो अपनी स्पीड ऑफ रीडिंग, क्योंकि रीडिंग की अगर हैबिट अच्छी है तो जाहिर सी बात है कि हिज ग्रास्प विल बी गुड. सो वट एवर द सिचुएशन इज आस्किंग, वो फटाफट समझ जाएगा और उसका आंसर भी उसी स्पीड पे लिख पाएगा, बिकॉज दिस इज द फर्स्ट रिएक्शन दैट यू आर राइटिंग. अगर आप सिचुएशन ही समझ नहीं पा रहे हो, then obviously you will take more time. So reading habit, the developing the habit of reading is very important. And then of course you can practice also these SRTs commonly available everywhere कि भाई ऐसा होगा तो मैं क्या solution दूंगा, ऐसा होगा तो मैं क्या करूंगा. So automatically the thoughts will flow in your mind and you will be able to pen them down.
Right. Sir, you would have gone through multiple dossiers, and there are times through a dossier you make a certain presumptions that this candidate have this kind of trait, and you question mark that candidate precisely. But during the conference, your opinion completely changed after seeing the person and having discussion during the conference. Do you recall any of the candidate having such traits?
Yes, Sheetal, there is one candidate that I can recall. It was a woman candidate. She had come for the NCC special entry scheme. So now that candidate had left a large number of WTs as blank, which I was not able to figure out as to what is the prime reason. Because when it came to her TAT stories, she was reasonably fine. She was average.
Okay.
She was able to relate to the stimulus, but WAT में suddenly she went all blank, or what happened? And during the SRT part also, in certain situations, when it came to judging the determination factor, that dynamic factor was not coming out very clearly. So she was held back by me. However, when I came for the conference, that time when it came to the GTO and the interviewing officer, both of them had cleared the candidate.
Okay.
So then we discussed the personality profile of the candidates, and then I discussed my point of view also. So later on, but because her social factor was absolutely clear, there was no issue in that factor. So I came up for that candidate, and she was cleared thereafter.
All right, sir. So conference is basically very important for the selection because, sir, we underestimate this conference part. We feel like, psychological test, interview, and GTO are the primary testing factors, but I think conference also play a very vital role in the selection, sir.
Yes, definitely. During conference, at times there are candidates who have not been cleared by one particular assessor, whereas
Hmm.
अगर दोनों ने clear किया हुआ है, and
Hmm.
if the overall marks is meeting the criteria, so
Right.
then at that time certain questions will be probed to the candidate
Hmm.
on the particular OLQ, because of which he was held back by the assessor. So वो qualities को फिर वो किस तरीके से उस समय handle करता है in that last few seconds, in fact not even
Right.
minutes, seconds में उसने he'll have to answer those questions, and how
Hmm.
confidently, smartly, and intelligently that person is able to answer those questions. So that will be the deciding factor whether he's getting selected or not. So conference also has got its own importance.
All right, sir. Sir, there would be multiple dossiers you would have gone through. Some might be funny also, sir. Have you encountered any of the story or the response of a candidate where a candidate has written not relevant to the story and it's turned out to be very funny at the end?
Yes, I remember very recently the dossier that I assessed. So there was a picture wherein there was a man who was standing behind a wall and pointing out towards another man who was walking
Okay.
towards the hut.
Hmm.
So it was a deserted area in the picture. So that particular candidate made a very funny story. एक ने तो बनाया था कि उसकी गायें गुम हो गई और वो गायें को ढूंढने चला गया. That was one thing. Then there was another candidate who said, oh, और भी funny था. He said कि he made a PowerPoint presentation. He was working in a multinational company and he was taking a PowerPoint presentation for empowerment of people for the rural areas. So
Oh
such
my,
kind of stories and anecdotes keep coming to me.
right, sir.
That's good fun.
It must be fun checking all the dossiers, sir. I'm sure candidates.
Yes, yes.
So we have come to an end, and it was really wonderful talking to you. And I really wish that we do more sessions coming. I'll come up with very different out next time. And I'm sure this video is going to help a lot of candidates. Some might reach out to you through Instagram, WhatsApp, and many other ways through Telegram as well. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. We have discussed on various scenarios of psychological tests which are taken by the candidates. They feel that things are done to be in certain way, but because they are being more opinionated by the candidates who are itself are recommended candidates. And I'm sure the things that you have shared, the knowledge you have shared, is going to add value to their preparation. Thank you so much for joining me. It was fun talking to you, sir.
Thank you, Sheetal. It was wonderful interacting with you, and I really hope that the candidates prepare themselves well and achieve their dream of wearing the uniform. Thank you so much.
Jain, sir. Thanks for watching the video, and let me know in the comment section below if you have any doubts. Follow for more such content. Jai Hind.